Alright, let's start with GitLab. First of all, I'm gonna go and clone that repo. So I'm gonna go here and do git clone. I'm doing this because I want Redu to generate graphs for me, so I can easily see the entire architecture after this is done. Okay, cloning is done. Let's launch Claude Code. And yes, and I'm just gonna type deploy this to Redu, as usual. Okay, so because GitLab is a very big project, agent is asking me if I want a large or extra large VM for it. I'm gonna go with large first, and then I can easily scale it to extra large if I need it in the future. So I'm just gonna click on M1 large. Alright, deployment is done. So if we go here and copy this URL that I got, we can see that our private GitLab deployment is working. So now I'm just gonna go and create one account here. So something like this, and go continue. So now I need to go to that admin account and to approve it. I can access it using credentials I can find here, but I'm gonna do it differently. I'm just gonna tell the agent, go to that deployment and approve my new account that I registered. And it done it without a single issue. So now just go and sign into it. And that perfectly worked. So having a private version control system like GitLab is cool, but let's actually add some repo to it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and add fork of Supabase to it, and I'm gonna get the agent to do all the work. So if I go to the agent and I'm gonna say something like, I want a fork of Supabase to be added to my private GitLab, we just deploy it. Okay, and I didn't need to do a single action other than that prompt. It completely knew how to do it. So in our private Git, so I'm just gonna go there and refresh this. Okay, if I go to projects in personal, I should be able to say yes. Here it is, private Supabase fork. Now let's deploy it. So I'm gonna tell the agent here to use that private fork and deploy it to Redu. It should be very simple. Okay, figured out how to do this deployment, and it's asking me the size of the VM that I want to use. I'm gonna also use ML large here because Supabase is actually complex and it needs resources. So I'm gonna click that and let it finish its work. Alright, deployment fully worked. Let's go and check it out. So I'm just gonna copy paste this URL and go and paste it here. For the password and username, I can go here and find it. This is the one. And password is auto-generated, so this one. It's like this. Okay. Okay, Supabase properly worked. Now I would like to show you one of the game-changing features Redu offers. So if you take a look at Supabase, it's an amazing product. However, it's missing one feature that I need. I want to have backups. And I want to have a way to restore them. And I want it to be a native path here. So like a backups button here where I can just click and it will work. And the open source version of Supabase doesn't have this. Yes, of course, I can just go here in integrations, for example, or in storage and add S3 bucket or something. But I don't want it to be external. I want it to be private on a private network here. So let's see how easy it is to add a feature like this with Redu. I'm just gonna go to the agent and tell it, I would like you to add another feature to that Supabase deployment that we just did. On the sidebar between databases and database and out, add a backup button. Use redu integration method with a scoped API key that allows for backups and everything needed for this to work. And that's it. Let's see how it's gonna perform. Okay, so first it's asking me how I want that sidebar item to be implemented. In this case, I will actually choose to rebuild Studio from the source because I think it's better in this case. So let's see. Okay, so the next question that it asks me is what kind of API key I want. So I'm gonna mint that scoped API key into the Supabase backups. So I want it to be less privileged because I don't want a wild AI to make instances and other stuff on it. I want it to explicitly be able to do only backups. So it writes that it needs these permissions to do it, and I'm just gonna approve it. It will never ask you to do something unless you approve it. If it's connected to billing and to something that you can actually spend your money on it. Alright, so the previous agent, when it deployed Supabase, it used just one VM with one volume. That was boot volume of that VM. So because of that, it cannot actually do backups on it in the normal way. It can do snapshots. However, I'm not gonna go the easy way. I want backups. I don't want snapshots. So what I'm gonna do here is to go and type something, and I'm gonna tell it rewrite the current deployment and create one additional volume, and I want backups, not snapshots. And I'm gonna type enter. So it's gonna rewire how my Supabase is working, and it's gonna allow me to actually do what I wanted to do instead of, submitting to doing with snapshots only, because Redu has ability to add additional volumes. There is no reason not to do it that way. Alright, so it recommended me to reprovision the VM again with additional storage added from the start instead of creating a new one and attaching to it. So these are the steps that it's gonna do. First, it's gonna provision the new Supabase VM plus 10 GB volume. It's gonna bootstrap that VM. Then it's gonna deploy the Supabase stack on it plus the custom studio and volume. It's gonna wire and verify volume-backed backup. And then it's gonna delete the old VM and update the records. So this is how agent decided to deal with this. And same password. Right. So the new build is here, and we can see backup button. We can see that its demo backup worked. Can refresh it. Let's try to make another one. So backup now. Let's see if it works. And here it is. We got a backup. So let's go and check actually on redu.cloud dashboard to see what's happened there. So I'm in my account, and if we go to compute, we can see on instances that we have GitLab and we have Supabase volume. So if we go to block storage here, we can see that there is a Supabase data, and that's the new additional volume that we created. We can go here and we can see it. the backup is there, and we can very easily just restore it if we need it. So we literally wired the entire backup functionality with few prompts with help of redu.cloud's MCP. This is that you genuinely cannot do easily on other cloud providers. So what's left to do here is I'm gonna tell it push that code to our private GitLab. I just want to sync it so I do not close this code. Okay, it finished, but I wanted to merge it into master, so I'm just gonna say merge into master. And let's see on master after it's done. Okay, it says that it's on master now, so let's go and check. So if I go to this private Git, I'm just gonna refresh it. And yes, it's here. 26 seconds ago, it's merged into master. So, okay. This kind of proved it end to end that all of this worked. However, I would like just one additional thing here before I conclude this video. And it's, I want to add a VPN. The main theme here is privacy. So the normal way of managing this type of architecture is just by installing VPN over the private network that has all these VMs and there is that volume and so on. So what I'm gonna say here, can you also add a VPN to Redu there? And let's see how it's gonna handle it. As Redu has its own VPN gateway, I'm just gonna tell it yes to provision it. Okay, VPN is deployed. It just didn't start it because it asked me if I want to do that. So I'm just gonna say yes, go and start it. So it will wire it on its own. It's because VPN can be installed on different operating systems. So I'm on Linux, so my setup is maybe a little bit different than from the others. That's why it needs explicit permission to start it. Okay, so because I already have VPN here, it hit another guardrail. So it didn't want to override anything without asking me. So I'm just gonna tell it, you have permission to do it. Just use some unique name for the VPN. And let's see. All right, so it completed. It only needs sudo to run this properly. So I'm gonna do that part manually. So I'm just gonna copy this command that they ask me to do and do it. Okay. It didn't work here. It did because that text is cut. So I'm just gonna do it again. And just here I will, yes, perfect. And I can already see that VPN is running. Okay, so let's see now, let's go here to networks, private network. This is the private network that this VPN is connected to. So I'm gonna go to compute, instances, and for example, Supabase. Find this central IP and try to access it. Okay. I also need to know on which port did it deploy. So I'm gonna go here and in manage DNS, I'm gonna see that this is the port 8000. So I'm just gonna go here and type port 8000. That's fine. Okay, and this is not HTTPS, it's HTTP. So I'm just gonna do this, and yes, I can see the login for Supabase. Let's go back and check for GitLab too. So if I go to GitLab and click on manage, it's port 80 and the instance name is this. So I'm just gonna do perfect. Okay, we have a full stack working. The last thing I want is to come here and to tell the agent do a architecture of Redu. Let's see the full picture, what everything that's deployed and how everything is wired. And we also got this generated, which is very convenient. So we can see the entire architecture of the entire project that we just did. So for example, if the goal is for all this to stay private, so over the VPN, I can very easily see what needs to be removed. So in this case, I can see this line here. So public access for those two VMs. So from the TLS, this one and this one. So I can easily do that. For example, if I go here and go to virtual machines, instances, for example, GitLab, go to manage DNS and just delete this, for example, or ask the agent to do it. So if I delete it, now the GitLab is still there and we can still access it privately like this. But if I try public access, it will not work. So that way we can prove that this is going to be very private and secure as we wanted. All right, so this is it for this video. If you have any question or if you need any help of integrating Redu to any of your projects, feel free to reach out or just go register and try it yourself. See ya.